Jerome Starkey is an Afghanistan-based journalist writing for The Times. In the past few weeks, ISAF forces under General McChrystal's command have gone out of their way to discredit Starkey's reporting. We spoke to him by phone from Kabul.
It's a side of NATO I hadn't seen before, quite a daunting prospect for a journalist in Kabul to have to face the wrath of the military, but perhaps it's where we belong.
Why would NATO go out of their way to attack a journalist? Starkey reported on 2 recent night raids in which NATO claimed no civilians were killed. When he interviewed eyewitnesses and relatives of the dead, however, he found that the victims had, in fact, been civilians, including school children and pregnant women. Instead of admitting what they've done, the forces under McChrystal's command tried to discredit Starkey personally. Here's what happened. The report which prompted NATO to attack Starkey involved an event in which U.S. and Allied forces claimed to have discovered the bodies of pregnant women during a raid against insurgents.
NATO claims to have discovered the bodies of 3 women tied up, gagged and killed, and the impression they gave from their initial press releases was that these women were sort of the victims of some sort of macabre murder.
Starkey interviewed people at the scene of the event and discovered that this report published by U.S. and Allied forces was false. According to witnesses, the women were killed by U.S. and Allied special forces.
An unknown number of U.S. and Afghan gunmen stormed the compound of a police commander, a man named Commander Daoud. When Commander Daoud ran across the courtyard of his home, he was shot. Commander Daoud's brother tried to speak to the gunman, and by all accounts, he was shouting, "Don't shoot, we work for the government." As he was shouting at the gunman not to shoot, he fell down. And as he fell down, 3 women who were crouched behind him were also killed. 2 of those women were pregnant. The family claimed the U.S. Afghan force denied the wounded medical treatment, and during that time, Commander Daoud and Gulalive, both of them died. I've been surprised and deeply disappointed by NATO's reaction. Instead of admitting its mistakes, they denied any allegations of a cover-up, and they did their very best to discredit me personally.
NATO released multiple statements slamming Starkey's reporting and claiming he had misquoted their spokesperson. They claimed to have a recording of the conversation in question, and Starkey demanded NATO release to him a copy of the recording. It turns out no recording exists.
They tried their very best to distract anyone who was watching from the real nature and the core of the story, which is the fact that they killed 2 pregnant women and a teenage girl, a policeman, and a district prosecutor. I think we have outmaneuvered NATO simply in the scope and breadth of our investigation, and hopefully that will, that should force them to put their hands up and admit what they've done, and purely by admitting what they've done, I genuinely hope they might be less likely to do it in future.
NATO now admits that their press release about women's bodies being found bound, gagged, and killed was false, and the families of those killed have threatened suicide attacks unless their killers are brought to justice. NATO's attempt to hide these deaths and their attack on journalists who question the official story shows why it's absolutely necessary to keep pushing back against the Pentagon's message machine. Please share this video with your friends and become a fan of Rethink Afghanistan on Facebook. Help us get the truth out about what's going on the ground in Afghanistan.